Hey, soul family. I hope your spirit is calm and your heart is open today. There's some things I've been going through lately, and I just wanted to come and reflect, share my thoughts, and a couple of experiences. So, I'm a parent, and lately, parenting has been kicking my you-know-what. Parenting is not a job for the weak. It is not a job for the weak. It's really had me reflecting on my upbringing as well as my parenting style, things I've learned along the way. Unfortunately, there is no playbook to parenting or parenthood. There's no guidance book. There's nothing to tell you how, to do it. In this lifetime, I'm learning to be a parent. You know what I'm saying? It's my children's first time ever being children in this lifetime. So we're learning together, and I think a lot of times we lose sight of that. Mind you, I started having children at 16 years old, so I was a baby, having babies. And so me and my children pretty much grew up together. Although I am appreciative of that today, it's still bittersweet. And I say that because I didn't have time to heal all of my inner child wounds. I didn't have time to heal the trauma I experienced during my upbringing. Although I did not have the time to heal those things, I still didn't project that onto my children. I love my children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never wanted to have children. And so, I don't even want to get into how I got there. I see me in every one of them. And that also helps me give them grace. I was young. I didn't know, all I needed to know. That's something that's not talked about a lot, is teen moms, the experience of being a teen mom. Two things are happening simultaneously, right? As a teen mom, you're still a teen, so that means you're still growing, and then you have a whole child who has a whole nother personality, or a whole different personality than yours. They're growing at the same time you're growing, right? And so as a teen mom, your brain is not fully developed. And so now you have to deal with a baby who, is, the baby don't know that your brain is not fully developed. The baby doesn't know that. And so you're having to, the baby is looking to you to, know everything, or take care of it, or create safety for it, when you too are looking for safety. My children are all over the age of 18. I am trying to keep in mind, my upbringing, and I'm trying to relate to them because it helps me give them grace, it helps me give myself grace as a parent, as a mother, as a woman, as a human. It helps me give myself grace as well. I think about me, and when I was their age, I think about the mindset I had at their age. And although I feel like millennials were absolutely more advanced, only in the way that we actually had to critically think. Like, we didn't have technology to just solve problems for us, or have all the answers for us. We actually had to go looking for answers. We actually had to figure things out. We actually had to use our thinking caps. We actually had to critically think about things. And with these children, which my children are Gen Zers, it's just different because they kind of grew up with all the answers, if that makes sense. I also feel like, and it could be just my own opinion, but they lack common sense. I'm not saying that in a way to make them look bad or feel bad or any of that. It's just something that I've observed in Gen Zers. Parents, please chime in. Is this normal? Like, are all parents, I'm sure all parents are not experiencing this, but I'm seeing like a common theme on social media of, you know, the issues that parents are having with these Gen Zers. Tell me what helped you with yours, or, you know, or let me know that I'm not alone. Because it can feel really lonely. It can feel really, really lonely. I do feel really lonely. I had a 2-parent household. Yes, my mom and my stepdad, you know, and so although it wasn't ideal, because I grew up with a lot of trauma. My environment was very traumatic. And my parents, I observed a lot of things that I felt like, you know, I don't want this for my children. There was a lot of things that, like, I would look at my parents and think what not to do, instead of, you know, there was more what not to do than there was, okay, this is something good to pass on, or this is something good to teach my children. And that's not to say I had bad parents or anything. I believe my parents, they did the best they could with what they had. As a kid, it was like watching adults and thinking like, they should know better. You know, like, but now as an adult, it's like, you only know what you know, right? Like, we expect things to go a certain way or look a certain way. And unfortunately, just because we expect it don't mean that that's how it is, or that's how it's gonna be. As intentional as I am about unlearning and relearning, so that I can change the narrative for my family, I too realize that it's easier said than done sometimes. As much as I want to change certain patterns and behaviors and actions that also wanted to avoid, because I saw them reflected in my parents, I sometimes catch myself doing the same thing. And it's like, it's hard. It's really hard, because I try so hard to do something different, to be something different. And no matter how hard I try, sometimes it just creeps up, because, you know, it's something that I witnessed or experienced. And so instead of hiding it or pretending like it didn't happen, or pretending like I'm doing a great job as a parent, you know, I have to be really honest with myself and understand that, and give myself grace, knowing that I mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't always get it right. Let me say that. I don't always get it right. And so having that self-awareness and knowing that as a parent, I don't always get it right, it gives, I'm then able to give my children grace and understand that, you know, they don't always get it right. But no cap, it gets hard, because things are so much different than they were when I was younger. I feel like in me, my mom instilled fear. Like, I was deathly afraid of my mom, you know, and of what she would do or could do, you know, to me. I was very fearful of her. In turn, because I was so fearful of her, I hid things from her. I couldn't go and talk to my mom. I always felt like I wanted my kids to be able to do that with me. I wanted my kids to be able to come to me And, you know, let me know when something is going wrong, or let me know when they need my help, or, you know, come to me for advice. I want my kids to feel free to do that. And so it was very important to me that I did not instill fear in my children. Like, even I was taught, you don't cry. You cry, you're weak. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted my kids to grow up with that mentality, because it just doesn't make sense. It's hard facing this world alone. It's really hard. And for me, when I was younger, I felt alone most times. I felt very alone. And so that's something I never wanted my children to feel. But somehow, here I am today. I feel like my children have distanced themselves from me. During their upbringing, they were very open. Like, they would come and talk to me about anything. Like, you know. And now I find myself thinking, like, where did I go wrong? Because I be looking at them like, who raised y'all? Who raised y'all? Because this can't be me. It can't be me. It can't be me. With the way they acting today, child, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just like, where did I go wrong? Like, I feel like I talked to them, you know. I didn't believe in corporal punishment, so it was always talking. One thing I do realize, though, and one thing that they would get upset at me about is I would yell when I was upset, and I had to let them know when I'm triggered, I yell, you know, especially if I feel like I'm not being heard, I'm not getting my point across, I yell. Is it okay? Absolutely not. And it's something I'm actively working on. But it also made me think, if here I am at my big age, still working on emotional regulation, something I was never taught, how can I expect them, you know, to know at their age what I'm still learning at my big age? So yeah, I feel like as a parent, you have to have a lot of self-awareness. That self-awareness helps us give our children grace. And there's no such thing as the perfect parent. There's no such thing as the perfect child. You know, we're all pretty much just doing our best. We're doing our best. And that's all I can do, is do my best. In doing my best, I've already pretty much changed the narrative, you know, because I wasn't raised like I'm raising my children with self-awareness, with mindfulness. I wasn't raised that way. Well, family, I really appreciate you all holding space for me and just giving me a safe space to vent or to reflect. I'm very appreciative of that. If anything resonated with you, drop a comment below. Subscribe if you're feeling called. And peace, love, and light.